Good morning. Yep, another video about relationships. They're complicated, aren't they? And yet I feel like I want to talk about them because for most of us, they're what life is about. We get together because we're grieving the physical presence of people we love. And sometimes we forget or lose sight or simply do not have the capacity to include the relationships that are right here. It's normal. It's natural. I get it. I'm not asking you to somehow make this amazing switch. I'm asking you to expand whenever possible. Part of that is talking about the people we love. Yes, we talk about the pain. That's absolutely reasonable. We need to tell our stories. And that pain, especially when the grief is new, can be all encompassing. And sharing those stories with the people who are with us, magnificent. So, yesterday, I was invited by my granddaughter and my daughter in law for Girls' Day. Grandpa had been invited to go with my son and the two grandkids to Monster Truck. I thought that'd be awesome, but my granddaughter was horrified. So, instead, we had a sundress day. We had to all dress pretty because that's very important to her. And we went to the park and found a shady place where she led the conversation. She picked out our foods and she doled it out. She's 9 years old. And then when she thought it was time, we moved on to the library and got a book. I mean, not a book, rather, a movie. And then we came home and she pulled out all of her favorite colors of nail polish and decided what color she was going to paint my nails and that I would do hers and Mommy could do her own. Normally she'd be all over it with Mommy, but this is the first time I was part of this. Part of this is absolutely diving into this amazing relationship that is developing in a much more full way now with my granddaughter. Part of it is also sharing her daddy with her. She knows her daddy. He's an amazing guy, but she loves to hear stories about him when he was little. She loves to hear stories about Uncle Jeffy and Uncle Mikey because she knows Uncle Jeffy is this grown man who's not real fond of kids, big bushy beard. But as she gets older, he likes talking to her more. She likes hearing the stories about them and finding the connectors, if you will, how she might be similar to her daddy or one of her uncles. When she found out that Uncle Mikey loved to read as much as she does, she kind of lit up. Relationships. No, the whole day wasn't spent talking about Mike or my other two sons, or including her daddy, but that was a piece of it. It is helping to expand, to deepen our relationship because she knows it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to offer her opinions, and she's got a lot of them. It's okay to turn up her nose and say, really? Why did they do that? Because after all, in her mind, boys are very stinky. She's a very girly girl. It's fun. Relationships. We can bring along the relationships that matter to us and always will to our new relationships or to our existing relationships. They don't go away, they shift and they change. Yes, while she was putting purple, sparkly polish on my toenails, she asked questions and she told the story about how one day they polished her brother's nails and her daddy just about lost his mind. And I thought that was hilarious. But she asked about the boys when they were little too. We bring them along, always. If people do not want to hear, you get the choice. Maybe that's not your tribe at the moment. Maybe it's not the place or the circumstances. Listen to your heart. What is okay for you? There will always be safe places to tell your stories. And those stories matter. It's not just the stories of what they did when they were laughing. It can be the stories of how they made you crazy. The story of, I remember Mikey coming home one day brokenhearted. He was reading The Hobbit and he wouldn't tell me what was wrong. Turns out a bigger boy on the bus was taking his book and throwing it up and down the aisle of the bus. And his slightly older brother, who was much smaller, stood up to the bully and told him it wouldn't happen anymore. It could be those stories too. That story made Mike know that his littler brother was there for him. And I haven't thought of that in years. But those stories matter. Just like the story of my granddaughter painting my nails. Just like the stories of the hurt that we feel when we learn they're not with us. The stories of the loneliness we feel when we're in a room and we miss them sitting with us. Let's keep telling their stories. If it's not okay to share the story where you are, find a place that is safe, where the stories are welcome. Because each and every one of these people that we love so much lives in our heart. That is a relationship that will never die. It's changed profoundly, but it never dies. Let's tell our stories. Even when we have new relationships, new friendships, new connections of any sort, the love that we've experienced and continue to experience, the loss we've had, the healing that we're taking step by step is all part of who we are. This is part of developing, of forging a really important relationship. And you deserve empathy, compassion, support. You deserve this rich relationship in your life. With the one you're missing, you deserve for it to continue. And I hope you do. Keep sharing their stories. Probably all day, I'm going to see that silly, wonderful grin my granddaughter had on her face all day long. I've never seen her smile so much. It was wonderful. That relationship is changing. All of our relationships change. We get to decide what feels okay for us and what does not. I wish for you today a day where you have time with people who love and appreciate you to deepen those relationships. Maybe it's by chatting. Maybe it's simply by sharing a cup of tea or coffee and breathing in the same space together. You matter. You matter so very much. Namaste.